Guys, and welcome back to another video. Today I will be going over the tour series for the Reisa-Dresden locomotives. Sorry I haven't posted in a couple days. I've been sick recently. I might still sound a little bit sick, but I'm feeling a lot better. But yeah, anyways, let's get into it. No, I don't want to. This is the Dbbr for 146. First, you're going to want to climb up by opening the door and climbing up the steps. Then you can shut it behind you. Here's the cab of the 146. First off, you're going to want to hold the battery button and press it down for about 5 seconds. Then, your unit should be powered on. Let me check and make sure this is the actual one I'm looking for. Okay, this is the one. Anyways, you can keep your park and brake on, but make sure to set your signal lights to headlights. Next, you're going to want to make sure your pantograph is selected to auto. Make sure this is cut in. This can be left to where it is. Yeah, I'll come back here in a minute. We'll go over the conductor's side real quick. You got the CFA button. Got the horn. The passenger door open button. Shunting control. LZB PCB release. LZB PCB acknowledge, and LZB PCB override. You also got this big red button, which is the emergency stopper, or emergency button. Next, you also on this back wall, in case you're really good with German safety systems, you got LZB, PCB, and CFA. LZB and CFA is probably the easiest. PCB is really hard because you got to keep paying attention to the signals and whatnot. You can then sit in the driver's position. If your reverser switch is not inserted, make sure it is. You can then set this to neutral so the brake systems will charge. Next, you can raise the pantograph by setting it to forward and closing the main circuit breaker. You can then hold the train line in start for about 5 seconds to turn on what Americans call the head-end power. LZB, PCB, acknowledge, override, and release is over here. Make sure your air compressor is on, and your traction motor fan is automatic. Up here is just banking calm. These are screens you can mess around with. There's nothing really to do with them. Down here is your AFB. I use this a lot. AFB. You can turn on the console lights on both sides. Nope. These what look to be in like cooling fans and whatnot in real life. Got a telephone, and yeah. You can then release the parking brake. Hold it till that yellow light is off. Put this to to do a brake test, put this to full service. Then put it back to 1B. You can then select it to whatever side you're on for passenger doors. Like, for example, I'm on the left side, so I then flick it towards me, to unlock the doors. These are the coach lights if you want them. Sand, in case you're on heavy grades, which will probably never be needed in 146. Your brake release switch. Headlights can be switched to headlights reduced or signal lights normal, but at night you can turn the headlights bright. Here we got master and instruments lights. Make sure that is on just so your headlights are on and your instrument lights on the cab. I prefer cab light most all the time because it is really dark and the desk light really does nothing. You can then select your destination. Might wanna, oh well, my train won't really show anything for some odd reason. I don't think I have everything on, but oh well. You can then select your AFB to your selected speed. You can then flick this away from you. Also, here's the direct brake, which is a locomotive. Electric is just dynamics. This emergency pantograph button is just putting it into emergency, basically. Shunting control, all that stuff from the conductor side. This isn't touchable. This is your brake overcharge. Here's your emergency valve down here. Your wipers are right here. ELPN, I don't know what that is. PCB Moto is for passenger. And CIFA there for this side. And yeah. Make sure your doors are closed. To recover from a traction lock, like if you have your brakes on, and then apply power, then you release the brakes, it will lock the tractions. First you gotta set the throttle off, then you can throttle up. And that is the DB146 tour. Anyways, let's go to the next one, which is the DB cab car. Now we are on the DB cab car. So first, how to enter. There's no side door. You will have to go through the passenger doors. If you want, you can leave the door open. Just to let people get inside. You can then enter the cab to this door. If you want, like I do, close the blinds so nobody could see you. This is the second man seat or conductor seat. Over here you got PCB mode and LCB. You got a CIFA button and what looks to be a nail gun. I don't know what that is. You could set your signal lights to headlights. This is a CIFA fuse if you want it. To power up the unit, you'll want the battery on. Making sure PCB is down there. And yeah. There's nothing you can interact with down here, I don't believe. Nope. Alright. Over here is the wiper though. Park it again. Here's the emergency brake down here, the emergency valve. You can now sit in the driver's position. Now you'll want to insert the reverser and set it to neutral. Then you can raise the pantograph and close the main circuit breaker. Next, you can put this in start for a couple seconds. Then you can put it to on by letting it go. You can turn the train lights on. The sanders for sanding front and sanding back. You can release the brakes. You can keep the headlights to reduced. Turn on headlights and instrument lights so the lights will actually work. I suggest cab light like always. To let the brakes charge, turn on the brake key. And for the brake test, put this to full service. Then to 1B. In case your trailing locomotive doesn't have its taillights on, you simply walk to the back here. You enter the side door, or whatever is your trailing locomotive's door. And this is the 143 we'll go over in a minute. But I just set the headlights to red, so that should mean that they are on. Yep, taillights are on. So now we head back up to the front. You can open the other doors if you want. That should open the rest. Now you can set this to 1A. The electric brake, like I said, is dynamic. Direct is locomotive only. Here's contact signaler. Got shunting control, PCB release, PCB acknowledge and override. Now the horn on this is weird, in its weird spot. You gotta go up here. I feel like that's where the signalman, or whatever this guy is, comes in. He has to stand up, walk over here. You got the passenger door over here too. You also got this side. And passenger doors. Emergency brake button here. Shunting control, PCB release, acknowledge and override. And yeah, I think that is it for the cab car. So next you can close the doors. You can then set this to forward. You may then head on out. Also, there is no AFB on the cab car. That is it for the DB cab car. Now let's move on to the Dbbr 143. Now we are on the Dbbr 143. First, you're going to want to climb in on the side door. Then you want to run to down the other corridor of the locomotive. You then select the battery to on. Hold it and start for a couple seconds. then keep it on. Put your pantograph to rear. PCB and CFA is back here. If you want PCB mode O if it's passenger, and M if it's freight, because this locomotive does both. Now we are in the cab. Let's go over the conductor's side. Here we have CFA and signal device. Here we have second man, seat. You can put the wiper on. Turn it off. Yeah. The wiper speed you can select to max or whatever you want. PCB LCB override, acknowledge, and auxiliary release and auxiliary drive are over here. Speaking of which, where's PCB? Well, LCB. Not sure where LCB is. Weird. It's in here somewhere though. Same thing as over there, CFA and signal. Here we got the handbrake. Maybe keep it to about 50. Next, you can sit down and here you got your wiper and your wiper speed. Here we have auxiliary drive, release, PCB, LCB, acknowledge, and override. Next, you can take a seat, knee driver's position. Nothing down here at the feet. You do have the emergency brake valve right here though. You will then need to set this to forward. And then put the pantograph to raise. And close the main circuit breaker. And then turn on train lights. And put the train line power on. Make sure your compressor and traction motor fan are automatic. Next, you can, if you want, put the cab light on. You got the headlights, put them on if this is the leading locomotive, and red if it's trailing. Just make sure that this is on. Alright. There should be a destination board somewhere in here. Maybe not. This might be the verse ignored one, I think. But I'm not sure. Wish they had RSN or BRD next to the ones that came from Reisa-Dresden. Dresden. Here you got gauge lights and desk lights. If you want, you can select your door selector here, put it to left if you're on the left, and right if you're on the right, or both if your passenger doors are on both sides. You can then set the brakes to running, and your direct brake, make sure it's released, as that's the locomotive brake. This is the train brake. Here's the horn. You got sand. You got PCB, LCB, override, release, and acknowledge. You got traction brake program, running program up there, auxiliary control. You want to make sure your tractive braking force effort is to 100%. And CFA right here. You can then release the handbrake. Then you can close the doors. And yeah. By the way, these are basically the same thing as, well, the Racing Nord one and Reisa-Dresden one, along with the 146 with the main Spessart Bahn and Reisa-Dresden. They're basically the same thing. They might have a few adjustments, but they're basically the same thing. But that is it with the 143. Now let's move on to the 442. Also, AFB is your automatic throttle, just like the 112. If you set it to a certain speed, it speeds up. Anyways, let's move on to the 442. Now we are on the Dbbr 442. First, you're going to want to come inside the cab by entering this door and climbing up the steps. You want to turn on the master key. Hold this and start for a couple seconds. Close the blind so nobody sees you. You can then sit in the driver's position, set this forward. If it's at night, you'll want to turn on the cabin lights real quick, just so you'll see. CFA, PSB is back here. And yeah. Got like this little announcer thing. Got like books or guides or something. Another announcer. Fire extinguisher. First aid. And whatever this is, it looks like a garbage can. Now you can actually contact the signaler with the telephone. I'm not sure if you could do that before, but I don't think you were able to. CFA pedal is down here. Okay. Now you want to raise the pantograph and close the main circuit breaker so your train starts up. You can then open the door so people can get in. At the front here, you got train lights on and off. I would keep it on. Reasoning lights don't really do anything, especially at this time of day. You could turn on the high beams. Sander, apply to the front, apply to back. Here, this is tempo mat is basically the same thing as AFB. PCB acknowledge, PCB release, and override is on the side. Here you got the emergency brake button. What looks to be like a microphone right here. Release the handbrake and apply it. Well, apply and release handbrake. Buttons are over there. High horn, low horn. Here you got instrument lights, reading light, guard buzzer. This looks like an announcer actually, right there on the side. Here you got the wipers. Next, you can release the indirect brake. This is used for emergencies only, as this over here is the combined power and brakes. If you want me to give you a tutorial on how to use AFB, PCB and whatnot, I'll try my best to. You'll just have to tell me in the comment sections below. Next, you can close your passenger doors. Turn your headlights on, maybe, if they are working. Yep. Okay, so the tail 2 high beams are no longer as bright. You can then power forward. When you reach max speed, you can then click tempo mat to turn it on. Or you could do this. Click it on now, and you hold that thing away from you, and you'll see the blue bar slowly starting to build up on the HUD or the speedometer. And that is the talent 2. Anyways, let's move on to the MRC EBR 185. Now we are on the MRC EBR 185.5. First, you're going to want to climb inside with this door. Shut it behind you. This is basically the same cab as the 146, sort of. First, you're going to want to hold this battery down for about 5 seconds. 3, 4, 5. Alright. Set this to headlights. Make sure this is set to auto. Make sure this is in. Keep that the same. PCB, CFA, you know where they are. CFA button on the driver's side. Conductor side. Horn on the conductor side. Passenger doors on the conductor side. PCB, LCB, acknowledge, override, and release, and shunting control. Here you got emergency brake button. Make sure your air compressor and traction motor fan is automatic. Hang on. Sorry about that. LSB, PCB, override, release, and acknowledge is right here. Here, you can put this to neutral, and you can raise the pantograph and close the main circuit breaker. Then you can hold this in start for a minute. For a brake test, like I said, pull this back to full service. Then to 1B. Passenger doors are here just in case you're saving a train, just like Hamburg to Lubeck. Horn on the driver's side. Emergency brake valve. wipers. PSV mode M. ELPN, set that to EL. Keep PSV mode to M as we're driving freight. Here you got sand, brake release, signal, headlights. For headlights to work, make sure these are on. You can set these to reduced. If you want, you can have the cab light on. You can then release these. Set the reverser to forward. If you want, you can turn on AFB. RFB. Set this to your speed. Brake overcharge is right here. Electric is the dynamics. Direct brake is the locomotive brake. Emergency pantograph is right here. Shunting control, LSB, PSV release, acknowledge, and override. And yeah, I think that is it for the 185.5. Let's let this get rolling. And you are rolling. And that is it for the 185.5. Also, banking com is here if you need it. Now let's move on to the fifth or sixth final, which is the final one, the DB Blue 363. Now we are on this Dbbr 363 in blue. First, you're going to want to climb up over here. Well, how about you lower this coupler? Make sure that is coupled. And then climb up and climb in the cab. Keep this handbrake applied. Back here we got PCB control center. Not exactly sure if there's PCB, like where the PCB button is, because it's been a while since I've played on the 363. Anyways, to start up the unit, you want to, let me turn on the master key. Hold this and start for a couple seconds. I sensed I have made a mistake. You can then let's see here. What do I need? Power off. There you go. Make sure your power and fuel pump is off to start the unit. Then switch them back on. Here's the cab light, engine room light, front center, front left, front light, rear headlights. Might as well turn them on too. Turn on all these lights. Here, make sure your gear selector is always to long distance. Here we got uncoupling, brake release, yeah. Here we got sand and horn. Fine control valve, I'm not sure what that does. Here we got changeover dimness. That's just how bright this one is right here, I'm guessing. Put your reverser to forward or reverse. Here we got PCB acknowledge, release and acknowledge. Here we got rear right and front right wipers, along with speed knobs, front, back, and front left, back left and front left wipers, emergency stop button. This is actually a very unique second man position, as you're just standing. Here you got the windows. You can open all the windows on all the locomotives besides the cab car, I believe, but I'm not sure. I forgot to check. Pretty sure PCB is around here somewhere. Just can't remember. There you are. PCB is inside this little breaker thing. Put the cover back on. PCB release, acknowledge, and override on that side as well. I believe that is it. You can then release the handbrake. You may then release the brakes. Hold these in release. Then you may throttle up. Throttle's really weird on this, so you gotta kind of fidget around with it. And that is it for the 363 and this video. If you guys did enjoy, make sure to give it a like, along with subscribing to the channel. I'm sorry I haven't posted. Like I said, I was sick for these past couple days. Expect a lot more Train Sim World. Expect some new articles. Well, this will be out the day after, I believe. If not, then expect articles later today about a lot of stuff that I haven't talked about because I was out these past couple days. So yeah. Anyways, I will see you guys in the next one. Take care.